This is the plaintiff, Joshua. He says the defendant's his ex-girlfriend, and once they broke up, she helped herself to his bank account because her name was still on it and stole from him. That's right, his bank account was paying her monthly credit card bill for 1 whole year to the tune of $5,000. So he's suing the thief here and now. This is the defendant, Carrie. She says the plaintiff owed her this money because she paid for things like his car repairs on her credit card, and this was their agreement of paying off his debt. She also paid for airline tickets and gas and coffee while they were together. His new girlfriend's the troublemaker here. He must be afraid to tell her the truth or something, because as far as she's concerned, she's the one who still owed money. She's accused of ripping off an ex. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,387.97 for money still owed and defamation.
All parties, please use your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, both of you have asked to be named only by your first names. Joshua, you're suing your ex-girlfriend, Carrie, for $5,000. That's a statutory max. According to you, you're out a lot more than that. For unauthorized withdrawals that she made after you broke up in order to pay her credit card bill from your bank account. You have a counterclaim against him for $2,387 for damage to your credit, defamation. What happened? How long were you two dating?
Approximately 2 years.
2 years. And you had a joint bank account?
It was my account. I added her to it at her request shortly after we moved in together.
Okay. And why did you say yes? Because it's your account. When you say at her request, what does that mean?
We were living together. It was,
Who handled the financials?
She was handling most of the financials from me.
All right. So were you combining your incomes and then she was paying it?
Well, she never deposited to that account. I just wanted her to have access to that account to make household bill paying easier.
Because you don't make the bill payments?
I was not making the bill payments,
okay.
Correct.
All right. So so she has access to it, and then what happens? You guys break up 2 years later.
We break up.
And why don't you close out the account?
Yeah, so at the time, I had a lot of auto payments coming out, child support, and other monthly things that were coming out. I tried to have her removed from the account. She tried to have herself removed from the account. They said we couldn't because of the auto payments that were coming out that were legitimate.
Yeah, but why would that affect the name of who's on the account?
You can't take somebody off the account, the bank said.
Why not? She's not responsible for your child support. Did you guys go to the bank and try to get your name off, or nobody bothered?
Yeah, they won't. They wouldn't let us, so they said
really
to close it. He needed to close it, and I told him twice.
Yeah, but then I understand. Like I understand. Yeah. Like if I lose a credit card that happens to have automatic payments on it, I just want to bury my head in the sand. But sometimes you got to go through that little effort of a few phone calls, because if you don't, look at you. So you guys actually break up. Then instead of taking your ex-girlfriend off of an account, you decide that you're going to keep her on the account because you can't be troubled to make 10 phone calls?
No, I couldn't get her off the account. I would have had to...
No, you could close the entire account. I mean, that's not a problem.
That's correct. At the time, it was amicable, and she had said that she would never use the account.
Well, you know what? I can't tell you how amicable I am with him. Your name's not getting on my bank account.
I appreciate that.
I just don't get it. And much less if we had dated and we broke up. Who broke up with who?
It was kind of mutual.
Kind of mutual. All right, but that's kind of nutty. All right, so you can't... Who is she?
My girlfriend.
Now, come on up, because you're front and center in this. All right, so now, did you even know about this?
That she was still on the account?
That she was still on the account.
No, I had no reason to.
But you were doing his banking. Apparently, he dates women for their banking skills. So, seriously, why don't you just do your own banking?
She was just looking at my account because we were planning.
She's better at it? Anyone's better at it. You apparently don't look at your statements. I know people like you. I'm married to one. So you don't... If I wanted to rob my husband blind, I could, and he would have no idea that I even did it. And it wouldn't be that surreptitious. Because it's just not his thing. Some people are good at one thing, some people are good at another thing, and the secret to a happy marriage is to figure out, you know, the 100 things that I have to do and the 2 things he has to do, so that, you know, nobody's bitter.
Her that money, and what's behind the suit is he doesn't want to level with his new girlfriend. Let's listen.
So you decide it's a good idea. Well, by the way, what's the date that you folks broke up?
It was in the end of the summer of 2016.
Does that sound right?
That's when he moved out, yes.
Okay. You come into the picture what day? More or less. What month?
Early 2017.
Okay.
But I didn't discover the situation with his bank account until August.
Okay.
Of
So
2017.
by August, you're doing his bills.
No.
Probably well before that.
No,
How is it you discover it?
We were reviewing our budgets and trying to determine what we needed in order to move into the place that we currently live.
Okay.
So when I reviewed his bank statement from August, that's when I noticed a transaction that...
And then did you pull all the records since the prior August?
Yeah.
Like how long had that been happening? Before they broke up?
Well, the payment, I think, was coming out prior to them breaking up.
Right.
And everything
so
else
that was
stopped.
something that they set up and nobody remembered.
So when we lived together, there were a few auto pays that she had set up coming out of that
one of the
account.
auto pays was her account.
Yeah.
And
well,
you didn't know that? You didn't look at it? You didn't realize it? You didn't review it? You didn't? Okay.
No.
All
The
right,
rest of them stopped. They all stopped except for that one. And I didn't catch it.
All the other ones of hers?
Yeah, all the other ones of ours when we were living together had stopped when I moved out, except for the credit card one that was hers and hers only.
Which kind of means that you never, ever, ever look at a bank statement, right?
I'm not the best about it.
But how do you know how much every month was coming out of his account?
Approximately $275 to $300. Some months were more, but
okay. Do you
on
have
average,
the statements from August to August, I guess it was, right?
No, the bank wouldn't release them to us.
So how are you going to
because
prove how much she owes you?
Well, she's not disputing.
Yeah, she's not disputing the amount that was taken. She was just disputing whether or not she actually owed it to me or not.
Why wouldn't you just come with the records?
Well, because the bank wouldn't give them to him because the account's in collection. What I do have are the records from Barclay, from the credit card company.
Why?
Because the account was overdrafted as a result of this auto draft coming out.
But how could you not have been notified of that before a year later, that it was overdrafted as a result of this?
No, when her payment in August 2017 came out of the account, as soon as I realized it, we set up a new bank account. Okay. And all the payments started coming out of the new account along with his direct deposit.
Right.
But the money, which 2 days earlier had gone out to pay her credit card, he needed to have in that account to cover other auto debits that were scheduled to cover his car insurance.
So the money so she didn't stop the payments from your account?
Correct.
And you couldn't stop it?
No.
When you close the account, it automatically stops it. I don't get it.
The account wasn't closed.
She stopped the auto payments.
No, I mean when you discover it. I'm sorry, I'm not making my question clear. In August, when you discover that there's a problem, and you close down the account, and you put his money in another account.
We couldn't close the account.
Why didn't you close the account?
Both people would have had to consent at the same time to have the account closed.
That's just not true.
No.
All you got to do, well, let me rephrase it. All you got to do is wipe out the money. Okay, so that's what you did. You took out the money, but you couldn't close the account without her approving it.
And I do have the transactions from her credit card company, and I have the disputed
what
charges.
happened here? What happened here?
Where should we start?
Well, why is your credit card bill being paid by your ex-boyfriend's bank account? Let's start there.
Okay, because when we were living together that entire year, it was automatically drafted from our joint account. It was part of the way he was contributing.
Did you have other bills that also were?
There were a couple other bills that we had
so why did you close all of them but not this one?
Because this one, didn't know about. We forgot about it in the middle of all of the situation. But then when we looked back on it, this was the one that he had used to charge to fix his car and for some credit cards.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Right. My question to you is, you're getting a statement too every single month from your credit card company, and you're seeing that somebody's paying $250 something on your credit card every single month, and don't you say, oh geez, that's Joshua's money that's going to pay this? Because I'm having a hard time believing that you, who were in charge of the bills when you were together, don't see for 12 solid months that you are the credit card fairy's paying your credit card.
I know.
Right? Because you're using the credit card every month, right?
I was not using the credit card every month, no.
Were you using it at all?
They were paperless statements, so
Did
I wasn't getting them in the mail.
Yeah, paperless statements doesn't mean you don't look at the statements. Just means they come by email. So did you ever look at your statement?
These particular ones, no, I did not.
So how would you pay them? You had to look at them to pay them.
I wasn't paying them because everything I had was auto-drafted.
No, so you were never paying any more on this credit card?
No.
Let me see the credit card statements for the year. I want to see exactly what was happening here. Okay, so how do you find out that this has come up, like he's figured it out?
Nice thanks to Facebook social media, he's slandering my business page.
Well, that happens later. First he reaches out to you.
No, this is how that's how I found out. Because I was at work.
According to you, you text her.
I texted her and called her.
And you text her, and I saw the text where he says, hey, this happened, and you're like, calm down, don't freak out. You know, it's a mistake. It's not on purpose. Yes. It's not willful. It's not intentional. All that was before Facebook, right?
No, I saw the Facebook thing first, and I was at work.
What was
I was
the
working,
Facebook thing?
And about how my ex stole $3,000 from me.
Okay, let me see the Facebook thing and the date on it. Let me see your text and the date on it. You guys broke up when?
July or August of 2016.
We have you using the card all month. In September, you used the card several times throughout the month. In October, let's see.
Oh, I thought you meant after the fact. Yes, I used them, obviously, when we were together. Yes.
No. I'm asking whether between August of 2016 to August of 2017, you used that card. And the answer is yes, I'm looking at it.
Yes,
so, of course you did, which means that you're getting statements, and they're on paper, by the way.
Right.
Every single month. And you're
them.
seeing that somebody's paying it. Why didn't you bring it to his attention?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, if you move in with somebody and you're romantically involved, how soon after you move in would you set up a joint bank account where you put all your money in the same pot and everybody has access to the money?
Well, if we just moved in together, we're just living together?
Right, but how long, I mean, when would you do it?
A year? Not until, we're married.
So married is the key?
Yeah, because then it's like there's a legal, like, you're committed to me, I'm committed to you, but if we're not...
You buying that?
A couple weeks, I'd say.
A couple of weeks? You would throw, well, why? Because you would assume the other person would have more money than you?
Duh.
Going inside the courtroom.
I did not see that he was paying them. It was paperless, and I printed them for court.
No, these
I went
are the
online
originals.
and I printed them.
No, these aren't printed, sweetie. These are folded up, perforated. That's not you printing anything, okay? No, you're talking to somebody who's been doing this a very long time. All right. Now let's discuss. This is up till December. Let's discuss what happens when you do find out that there was a problem. He alerts you to it, whether it's through Facebook trashing you or through text. Did you guys find it or you didn't find it? All right. So here's the text. No, that's your handwriting on the text. You know, this is just you guys writing dates on it.
Yeah, there's a few.
So it doesn't matter. So whether it's through Facebook and him trashing you or him texting you and asking you what's going on, what is your response to him? Your initial response to him is...
It must be a mistake. Let me figure it out.
Relax.
No, I never said it. So I said, we'll figure it out. I'll figure out what is the problem because I didn't know what it was.
How did you figure out what the problem was?
Then when I saw that it was this Barclay card, I had to go research where was this card coming from, and then I got the statements, and then I realized that it was when he charged the car charge.
How is it when he charged whatever as opposed to that there's just this random payment from your ex-boyfriend paying down your credit card? You're now telling me, oh, I didn't mention it for the last year, but now that I think about it, there's these joint expenses that shouldn't have been joint, and they shouldn't have been on my card at all. And you were in a tough time, and I paid it for you. You were supposed to pay me back. So I haven't chased you for the last year on it. But now that I think about it, it's fair that you pay it. Is that what's happening? Doesn't sound so good when I say it, right?
Exactly. But because he did agree to have us put it through that account until it was paid off, and that's what was happening. And then he moved out, and it continued, and we didn't catch it until this time frame. And then the timing actually ends up where it is paid off, except for some of the interest.
So according to you, he still owes you.
Well, it was like $100 if you were to think about it.
And when did you finally tell him, hey, I think I don't have to pay you back because you were supposed to pay back? What were those objects? They were a repair to his car.
Yes, and then 3 plane tickets.
And 3 plane tickets.
And then for his business trips.
Are there 3 plane tickets and a repair to your car that you were supposed to pay her back for?
No, Your Honor. When we lived together, we had life shared expenses, whether it was business trips to work, my car so I could get to work, or the pool that I helped pay for in her backyard, or the new water heater that I paid for, or the finishing the basement that I paid for while we were living together. I'm not disputing any of that. I don't care what happened while we lived together. I'm only focused on what happened after.
But she would like me to divide the pots and pans of a relationship from a year ago and figure out if she still owed money. That's what she wants me to do.
Yeah, I mean, this happened after. There was no money owed for when we were living together. I paid for a lot of stuff. She paid for a couple.
If there had been any indication on your part ever about, hey, you still owe me this money, any indication whatsoever. But what you're telling me, your testimony is, yeah, he's supposed to pay that back, but I don't know. I never looked at my statement. I didn't notice it. And wait, it's a mistake. It's not intentional. I'll pay you back. Hold on. Come to think about it, back a year ago, I paid something out of our joint account, and never mind all the stuff you paid when we were together, but I think you should, how's that gonna fly? Now, what, you're suing, according to you, it's $3,085.20 in payments to her credit card.
Those are the direct payments to the credit card.
Right. What's the $3,800 you're suing for?
There was interest and the overdraft to the account.
Yeah, but that's on you because you don't look at your darn account. You need to know what's going on in your life. What are you waving in the air?
This is the bank account that shows that he was still using this bank account.
Of course he's using his bank account. It's his money. That didn't need saying. That's his money, honey. Let's talk about your counterclaim. You're suing him, and now you want him to pay you $2,387. Why? Defamation, because he was trashing you on social media, and you were. You were calling her a thief on social media.
It's not really trashing her if it's true.
I don't like it. Stop it.
Okay.
It's bad
That's
karma,
fair enough.
bad juju.
And I did stop. Did
you delete the stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't need that. You know, you have a new life. Move on, right? Like, yeah. On your lawsuit against him, for him to pay you $2,387, no. And on his lawsuit against you, I'm just not buying this, hey, he owes me money from our old relations. You know, I'm just not buying it. And I am going to order you to pay back, but only the money that was actually taken out to pay your card, not the overdraft fees. That's on you. You should be paying attention. Verdict for the plaintiff, $3,085.20. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff is going to get $3,085, I think. You okay with that? Not really, right?
Hey, whatever's fair. I just wasn't going to hand him over money during the way he was handling it. Inappropriate.
All right. You learn anything from this whole experience? Not really. Okay, thank you very much. You must sign a few documents. How about you, Joshua? Have you learned anything from all of this?
Yeah, Judge Marilyn rocks.
Judge Marilyn rocks. And you also got to look at your bank statements.
Yeah, I got to look at the bank statements a little more carefully.
Okay. Well, good enough. If you've learned that, you've learned a lot.
Yes,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good enough. Okay, thank you very much. Harvey?
I got to tell you something, Doug. When you open a joint account, I don't care if there isn't a malicious bone in the other person's body. Keep tabs of what's going in and what's coming out. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Robert Lindgren. He says he rented an apartment from the defendant, and as it turns out, that guy's a weasel. He's withholding his security for no valid reason, thinking he's the type who'll just walk away. But he doesn't walk away from money, and is suing this louse for every penny of the $1,875 he's owed. This is the defendant, Rodman Williams. He says the plaintiff was his tenant for 5.5 years, and the guy just up and moved out without ever giving him a move-out date. He severely damaged his home in the time he lived there. He had to spend all kinds of money fixing the place back up. And if he thinks he's getting any of his security back, he's mistaken, because the judge will side with him today, no doubt. He's accused of taking advantage of a tenant.
All parties, please use your audience.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant is a weasel landlord who stole his security, but the defendant says the plaintiff bolted without notice. It's the case of Pop Goes the Landlord.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome in.
Robert Lindgren, you are suing your former landlord, Rodman Williams, for $1,875, double your security deposit, because according to you and the state laws, you say that you're entitled to double your security deposit for him wrongfully withholding it. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I moved out January 31st. Upon me leaving, I gave him a piece of paper, my name.
You moved in January 31st of what year?
I moved out on January.
Moved out January 31st. Were you on a lease or a month-to-month?
I moved in 2012. I was 1 year until that point. Then it was month-to-month afterwards.
So for the remaining 4 years that you were there, it was month-to-month?
Right.
Okay. So you moved out January 31st, but I'm going to need you to rewind to when you told him that you were going to move out.
All right. I told him on January 10th. I verbally told him, and I asked him, is it okay if I move out at the end of the month because I have a job as a manager at a complex? He says, sure, no problem. if he wanted the full 30 days, I would have stayed another extra month or half a month so I could do it all legitimately. But he
Okay.
said there was no problem with that.
Okay, watch this. Are you ready? Did that happen?
Not precisely, Your Honor.
Did he called you and he told you I'm moving, you know, and is it okay if I leave a month early?
Well, he spoke to me and said he was leaving,
Okay.
and he didn't specify a date
At all?
at all.
Okay.
So he was there about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and the next thing I know, a truck pulled into the driveway. I believe it was his two brothers helped him move.
Do you live
furniture
there
out.
too?
Pardon me?
Do you live there also?
I live downstairs, Your Honor.
Downstairs. So according to you then, your first time that you realize that he's leaving right now is on the day he's moving.
I'm sorry?
Because he didn't tell you it will be the end of the month.
No.
Okay. Now, why didn't you send a notice of your intent to leave in writing? You're a month-to-month tenant,
Right.
and you have to give him notice. So why didn't you just send the notice?
Well, what it is, I saw him in the driveway. So I spoke to him face to face, and I told him the exact time
Right,
I'm
but
leaving.
you see how that's going, right? Because
Right.
that's not working out for you. So
Right.
in your lease, it actually says that even if you're holed over from month to month, that there's a 30-day notice requirement. It actually says that.
Correct.
So it's your lease. I assume you've read it. Why didn't you give the full 30-day notice?
I would have, but since we were on a friendly basis, I kind of did it more
Yeah,
informally.
not a good idea.
I
And
know,
then
I know.
he leaves, and then you do not return the security deposit. But you do not send him a letter, as the law in New Jersey requires, within the 30 days to tell him why you're not returning his security deposit. So you don't send a letter, and then you file a lawsuit.
Right.
But curiously, you don't request the security deposit back either.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The reason why, I knew he was going to give me a hard time.
And you felt he was going to give you a hard time. Why?
Because he's very
Because according to
calm.
you, he gave you sweet permission to go ahead and leave.
Right, right.
He gave you his blessing. So
But-
then why did you think you were going to have a hard time?
Because we had many confrontations during that time.
Okay.
And
Which
I
would make
ca-
it less likely he'd pay out of his pocket for the next month when he only had part of the month to rent it out, right? Makes it less likely if you've had all these confrontations. All right, now, according to you, how much is the rent?
$675.
$675. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So you have more than the $675, and your claim to that is what?
The damage done to my apartment was so
Okay.
extensive.
Okay. So just as New Jersey law allows the plaintiff to sue for double the amount wrongfully withheld, you have a right to say why you withheld it, even if you botched it on the letter. But you shouldn't botch it on the letter. Okay? So tell me what was damaged.
First thing I had observed when I entered the apartment was the tile in the bathroom on the bathtub shower had fallen off the wall.
Okay?
And I was never notified of any such occurrence. And then I noticed that the rug was severely stained.
Okay. Do you have pictures of the rug?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Because the tiles, how did the tiles come down?
I was cleaning it, and they all fell in because...
Yeah, I don't believe that a tenant would end up being, unless you're going to tell me that he bashed something into it, that the tiles were broken, that there was an accident. You're talking about tiles falling off of a thing. That's not the tenant's problem. But let's talk about the rug, because really all you got to account for is another $200 and something, $300. So what happened with the rug? Show me the pictures.
There were some severe stains on the rugs, and I had brought them to his attention before, and he said, "Oh, my sister has a cleaning business, and she'll take care of cleaning the rugs."
Did he have a pet there? Or no, it was just traffic stains? What
He
was
just
it?
he had a couple of birds in a plastic box.
All right, let me see the pictures. What's your response to the rug?
Okay, the carpet was like that when I moved in. Now, when I moved in back in 2012, my best friend was already living there for 3 years. All right, it was stained pretty bad. You can tell it's a very, very old carpet. When I moved in, I told my friend and I told Mr. Williams, don't worry about cleaning up, it's fine. Now, last summer, he mentioned to me he wanted to replace the rugs, and I told him, don't do it on my account because I don't really care that
Do you
much
have any
about it.
written proof of that, like emails or texts or anything like that?
No, I do not.
Do you have pictures of the way you rented it to him to prove to me that it wasn't like this?
No, Your Honor, I
Do
did
you
not.
have an email or an affidavit from your friend to prove that it was like
No.
this?
I mean, the carpet's at least 7 years old.
What else? When was that rug purchased? Do you have that evidence?
It was purchased before I moved in 1989.
Okay, next. Next.
He just got carpet burned. Will the plaintiff get $1,875? Judge Millian rules next. So, who's a bigger offender? Tenants who damage apartments or landlords who wrongly withhold security?
Definitely the tenants. They shouldn't be damaging stuff.
But do they damage it typically? Do tenants disrespect landlord's property? Typically.
No.
Yeah, I kind of think you're right. What do you say?
I say tenants as well. I think that, when you don't own the home, you don't care as much about it, and then they end up damaging everything and breaking things.
Anybody think the landlord's more of an offender?
They should have a good deposit so they can pay for the stuff that the tenants broke.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Going inside the courtroom.
There were terrible nicotine stains all over the walls, and I sent him a certified letter stating that the lease said there was no smoking in the apartment.
You a smoker?
Oh, yeah.
Do you smoke in the apartment?
Yeah, we agreed to that.
Does the lease say you can't smoke in the apartment?
It does. It says two things, that he said it was okay. Now I know it should have been done in written. Number one, I am a smoker.
Does the lease say that he says it's okay?
No.
Right, the lease says the opposite of what you're saying, right?
What he says, no smoking, he says smoking's okay. Also, I said...
Oh, you can't have a written recording of an agreement between people and go, yeah, we both winked, so everything's okay, and then complain that it comes back to bite you if, in fact, that happened.
Right.
But most landlords really don't want you to smoke in the house because do you have pictures of when he took down his pictures, what the walls look like?
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
hand them over.
I realize now.
Yeah, okay.
That I should have had written.
Yeah, let me just tell oh, look at that. Any tenant within the sound of my voice, if there is something in your lease that you cannot do, and you want to be able to do it, and you ask your landlord, you make sure your landlord writes you an email or signs something, an addendum to the lease, or if an addendum is beyond your grasp, just have them send you a text and save it, or an email that says, yes, you can have a pit bull, because when you come into my courtroom later and you look me in the eye and say, I know that the lease says that I can't have a pit bull, but I got to tell you, he told me you can have a pit bull. I'm not going to believe you. I don't even want to know about any more damage. I don't need to know about any more damage. I find that none of the security deposit has been wrongfully withheld, and I'm ruling in favor of the defendant.
Wow. Well, it was not a good day for the plaintiff.
Can't believe it.
What do you mean you can't believe it?
I can't believe it because of the dishonesty that took place, and I wasn't able to state everything I wanted to.
Well, the judge goes by evidence.
I know.
It's got to be on paper. She's got to be able to see it.
Right. I understand now. At that point, I didn't. When I moved in, I didn't know it.
Yeah, well, you've learned.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Better late than never, right?
Correct. Yes.
Sorry about that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Mr. Williams, did you tell him he could smoke?
No.
I didn't think so, yeah.
I have a registered letter in my files that I sent to him specifically telling him he cannot smoke, besides the tenants of the lease.
Yeah. Should have brought it out, although you didn't need it.
No, didn't need it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, congratulations, okay?
Thank you.
You wear your Vietnam pin?
Yes.
You keep that on all the time? Proud of it.
Yes.
Very good for you. Thank you for your service.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Okie dokes.
Pleasure meeting you.
Harvey?
Okay, Doug, look, if there is any deviation from the lease, if you do anything that the lease specifically says you're not allowed to do, even if the landlord says you can do it, get it in writing or else you are asking for a lawsuit. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, James Chambers. He says he purchased a Dodge Ram from the defendant, and 3 days later, while he was driving it, the suspension snapped and he almost crashed into a car. Turns out the whole undercarriage and suspension was rotted out. The defendant knew about it when he sold it to him, and he wants to be refunded the $2,800 he's owed. So he's suing. This is the defendant, John Mariani. He says he's been in the car business for 35 years, and he would never sell someone a car he knew wasn't safe. The plaintiff looked at the truck, liked it, and bought it. A few weeks later, he gets a threatening call from the guy's uncle saying the suspension was bad. He told the plaintiff to bring the truck back to him so he could take a look. He never did, and now here they are. Owe him a full refund? No way. He's accused of ticking off the truck buyer.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff bought a Dodge Ram truck from the defendant. 3 days later, the suspension snapped, but the defendant says he'd never sell an unsafe vehicle. It's the case of don't leave me in suspension.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, James Chambers,
Yes.
you are suing I Buy Cars Incorporated, represented here by John Maiorani.
Very good. Thank you,
good.
Your Honor.
Thanks.
Very good.
I worked on it.
There you
All right, for $2,800, $1,400 that you paid for the car, and $1,400 for lost wages. It's actually a van. Tell me what happened here.
I purchased the vehicle from I Buy Cars, and he sold it to me for $1,400. I only had the car for 3 days, and on the second day, the suspension gave out. I was leaving my block to make a left turn, and the steering stopped working, and I almost crashed into a parked car across the street. I managed to get the car straight. And
Did you test drive the car before? It's a van, right?
Yes.
Did you test drive the van before you bought it?
No.
And do you know what it is that went wrong?
Yes, the suspension had snapped off because it was badly rotted.
Okay, says who, though?
The repair shop I had it told
do you
to.
have that in writing from the repair shop?
Yes.
May I see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Something frame badly rotted through, could not be repaired, suspension broken off, advised not to repair. Okay. And so what happens? You go back to them and you tell them you don't want it?
No, I called him 3 times to. I let him know what happened, and I asked for a refund, and he said no.
Okay.
He's not doing refunds. That's why he sold it to me for $1,400.
Okay. Do you have the bill of sale from the purchase, the paperwork from the purchase?
No, he has it.
Well,
I
why would he have
the-
it? It's something you should have if you bought a car. I mean,
Well, yes, I had it at first, but when I went back to pick the vehicle up, he had retained it.
I don't understand.
He took the receipt from me when I went back to actually pick the vehicle up.
Do you have a bill of sale? The receipt's not a bill of sale. Do you have paperwork that you signed to purchase a car, to purchase this van? Yes or no?
No.
Do you have it?
I have the receipt showing that he purchased the vehicle, left a $1,000 deposit, Your Honor.
Okay.
There was no bill of sale due to it was a wholesale vehicle 2 doors over. He didn't buy it from my place.
Okay.
He just handed me the money at my place. It was a wholesale vehicle. It was left next door at an adjacent lot 2 doors down. He didn't even pick it up from my establishment. We
All right,
just
but
collected the money at my place.
Whose van was it?
It was a wholesale vehicle that was collected. There are wholesale vehicles that come to my place to get sold. The name of the place is I Buy Cars. We basically don't sell cars retail. We make our money buying cars from the public, reconditioning them, and selling them at auctions and places like that.
So who owned that van?
That vehicle, it came into I Buy Cars. We did own it. We were holding the title. And when he came in to purchase it, I said, what are you looking to spend? And he says, I need a cheap van. I says, well, I don't have one here, but 3 doors down in one of the storage yards that somebody else has, there's a cheap van in there.
How did you know that?
Every day I walk by, I see it when I go to the store or something.
Right, but how are you able? I'm just not understanding how you're able to sell someone else's van. I don't know what you're saying. Is it your van or isn't it?
When we do wholesale, I have so many wholesalers that come to me and say, Johnny, I got no room for this. Can you hold it? This guy doesn't have room. Can you clean it? Can you fix it? It was just a vehicle that's been in inventory for a while.
Did you buy that vehicle from that human or didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so then it's your vehicle. What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're saying.
I just found it. We own that title.
Okay.
We bought it from a gentleman by the name of John Edwards.
Okay. So, do you have the bill of sale between you and John Edwards?
Yes, I do.
So you've got the bill of sale. That's good.
It's the purchase order, Your Honor.
Yeah.
It's not the bill of sale. It's a purchase order. You'll see it when you see it. You'll
Yeah, I know, but what's the difference? That's just how you bought it from John Edwards.
Yes.
Who is this guy? John. He doesn't put his last name. Whatever you think is fair.
That's the lead sheet when it comes in, Your Honor. We take phone calls all day at our place. But we do have the title, and we were ownership of the car.
Okay, so what I need then is the proof that John Edwards sold it to you.
John Edwards sold it to I Buy Cars. Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you what happened. Just got out of the hospital 14 days ago. So getting the case together, which I was excited to come and do this, I grabbed only what was very available to me right at the time. But I have all my other stuff.
Enough suspense over the suspension. Okay, so the guy pays $1,400 for a Dodge Ram. 3 days later, the suspension breaks. Any recourse here?
It's not his fault. He does.
It's not his fault, but is he allowed to get his money back, say?
Yes. It's only 3 days.
Is that right? Only 3 days? Huh? Hold on, I want to try somebody new.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's like online.
$1,400? Seriously?
Yeah. Like I could buy.
Going inside the courtroom.
Now, you end up bringing the car back. Do you bring it back to him or you don't?
I had it junked.
You had it junked. Did you ever talk to him and say, I want my money back?
3
yes.
times.
And he said no.
No.
And did he offer to look at it and see what was wrong with it and try to help you?
He told me to bring it in and he'll have one of his guys look at it.
And did you?
I told him I couldn't. The thing doesn't steer. There's no way I could bring it in if it doesn't turn.
So
the
you
next
just
day,
junked it?
I called the tow truck and had it brought over to the repair shop.
Okay. And then where is it, after that, where is the car now? Where's the van now?
From the repair shop, I went straight to the junkyard, J&J Towing or Recycling.
Do you have paperwork of that?
Yes.
May I see it? So if you got $366 for trashing it, why are you suing for the full $1,400?
Because he misrepresented the van when I called him to buy it. He told me that it was good enough to hold around heavy equipment and that it's a very reliable van. And obviously it wasn't.
I hear what you're saying. You want your money back and you want to undo this deal. How exactly do you propose to do that when you already took the car and junked it somewhere else? So you have nothing to give back to them.
I feel nobody else should have the vehicle because it's so unsafe.
Well, that's fine, but you went ahead and sold the vehicle to the junkyard for $366, so I can't return this car to John Edwards or John or these folks, I Buy Cars, because you got rid of it already. Now, how many miles did the van have?
159,000.
All right, so and you're in what state?
New York.
New York? So you don't have to give a warranty with that, and I'm sure you didn't. You didn't even give a bill of sale. You know, the problem that I have is that this is an as-is sale. You're supposed to get the thing checked out beforehand, okay? And you didn't get it checked out beforehand. And now you're complaining, but you want me to do something that you've deprived me of even considering doing by getting rid of the car in the junkyard first. It's not, if you don't want the car, it's not yours to get rid of. You know, if you bring it back over there and then maybe they can fix it, maybe they can't fix it. But you know, you decided, forget it, I'm just going to tow it to the junkyard or have the junkyard pick it up or something, I guess, which is fine. I understand what you were doing. You're trying to mitigate your damages, and that's fine. But, you know, you're already in a position of very, very great weakness buying a car without having anyone who's a professional look at it until it's too late, and then wanting to return it and get your money back, but you can't return it because you already sold the car to someone else for cheap. You see what I'm saying? So under these circumstances, I can't grant your request, and I can't ask them to return your money. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, unfortunately, the judge cannot find for the plaintiff in this case, so he loses. I feel sorry for you. You're kind of out of luck.
Yeah. It's sad, but...
Yeah, it is sad. What are you going to do now?
You guys go back to work and start over.
Make more money, start over again?
Yeah, next
You learn
time,
anything from all of this?
Yes, I'm going to take precautions next time.
Yeah, have somebody investigate. Look at the car before you pay for it. All right, I'm sorry for you, okay? Unfortunately, we're out of luck. You must sign some documents. Now here come the defendants, or the defendant, Mr. Mariani. If he'd have gotten the car back to you, do you think you'd have given him money back?
I would have loved to help the kid out. He called us numerous times, and we offered to help. And he threatened some of my people at my place, and we still offered to help him. And it's unfortunate it happened, but if he would have brought it back, we'd have loved to fix it.
You didn't really know how bad the undercarriage was,
No, we never saw it.
did you?
If he would have brought it to it, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he never finalized the deal with us. We would have knocked out the paperwork and did it all properly. But he didn't come back and do it the right
Maybe
way.
you'd have gotten him a different car.
No problem. We try to make everybody happy.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you very
Unfortunately,
much.
this one didn't. Thank you.
Good enough.
Have a
Thank you,
good
sir.
day.
All right. Harvey, got to be careful buying a car, right?
So look, Doug, the judge, when she does something like this, has to restore everybody to where they were before the deal. Here, the car was junked, so it's simply impossible. In a case like this, it really is impossible to undo the deal.